Yeah, so the camping trip was super awesome. You guys all missed out on really cool stuff like, I should just pull it up. Here, let me,
I was gonna go, but I got the plane. I would kind of interfere.
It was on homecoming.
Oh yeah, I got.
Oh, homecoming weekend? Oh no, I was filming a Hyundai commercial. I'm sorry.
oh man, you know what I care about is excuses.
It's an iPhone credit card.
Oh, that's
Do you
cool.
like Georgia Tech?
It is cool.
It's alright.
I don't like it that much. It's legit.
Oh.
You're gonna graduate.
So now when my friends are like, oh, I'm gonna trash when I order food, I'm gonna be like,
You need to like this
yeah,
one.
there's no like that.
It's
It's
proud of
I
it.
have a
kind of cool. You just find it out.
Missouri? Oh.
Another Apple app.
Shut-ins.
Wow.
You just plug it into your
Ah, that's where it was.
phone.
What, I gotta change my password?
Free.
So there's a geological formation called a shut-ins, which is when a river cuts through a mountain and that mountain tips over. And then, so you know you have all those striations. So that tips over and then the river goes back over it and it creates all these like up-down gullies in the water. And so it becomes like this like crazy like series of many pools that you can slide from one to the other. It's really cool. Why is it uppercase character? What's up?
Were they shut-ins in Missouri?
There's plenty of shut-ins in Missouri. But those shut-ins were in Missouri, yes.
Okay.
Oh, come on.
Put the bags in my phone.
Oh, current.
They force you to change your password.
Yeah.
Too, and they won't let you put it to the old one. It's like anybody wants to break in my account. Pay my
Georgia
tuition.
Tech's nuts about it.
Yeah, like somebody wants to break in and pay my tuition, they want power to me.
Oh, okay. I'm not.
And I'm not really sure what they
You want to give me $90? Okay, cool.
The only thing I can think someone can do bad in your account is just unnecessary for all your classes. In which case I would really pissed. But
Yeah. Oh man, that was rough.
That would have been great.
Okay, now we're in Flickr finally. I'll send you guys all this
Flickr.
this thing. So let's see.
I would still get.
Boom! So here's some stuff you missed out on. We went camping. It was beautiful. These guys are huge, crazy football fans. They were just coming to come up Friday night. It was so beautiful. They actually stayed Saturday night because it was so gorgeous out. But so we...
You did the
Why didn't
writing.
you do that?
Because you weren't there!
Oh, how far is this place? Let's do our own.
This is like-
Forget the DM department.
Sure, you guys can do things too. So you guys realize that it's not like Georgia Tech goes like, hey Andy, you should take a bunch of your spare time and have a bunch of field trips for your class. This is more of just a thing that like I'm trying to make from the goodness of my heart, exactly, and trying to do.
But I had project.
Sure, but you need to figure out ways. Boy, the internet on this computer is
Do you have
terrible.
any animals come up?
We looked at some cool ants. We dug out a big fire ant mound and like looked at all the little like layers and caverns that they had and
Speaking
stuff.
of digging out ants, did you hear about that guy? You may have told us about this. There's a guy, he boils
Molten
down
lead.
aluminum,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he pours them in anthills.
Yeah, Walter Schinkel.
Wait, why did you do that?
So,
The torture animal.
to make a sacrifice of one ant colony to hopefully learn about the different ant colonies in general. He goes out into the field in Florida. He's at don't we hate people in Gainesville or something? It's not like a Georgia Tech thing. No.
Just
UGA. Oh, okay.
University of Florida.
A lot of people don't
Oh,
like
okay.
it. Maybe like Clemson, kind of.
But anyway, he's from that university, University of Florida.
Yeah, that's fine.
And his name's Walter Schinkel. He's a big ant biologist, vermicologist. melts a bunch of, sometimes they use zinc, sometimes they use lead, sometimes they use nickel. Depends on the lower melting points, the longer it takes to cool, the deeper down to the earth it'll go. But you have some trade-offs, like how hot it needs to get and all that kind of stuff. But they basically pour all this molten metal into an ant hole. So then it fills up all of the different caverns and stuff, and it immediately, I think they say it carbonizes the ants. That is their euphemism for like burns them alive instantly and quickly, and you get these like little like skeletons. It's like Pompeii. It's an ant Pompeii.
Like Han Solo.
Kind of, except I don't think Princess Leia's gonna ever save them. Princess Leia. But so then they dump all this in, and you get these amazing, elaborate, permanent structures that show you how the ant colony makes up their particular housing. So some ants are like very spread out. Some have like really big chambers that are connected by little pipes. Some are just really fibrous and just have little lines everywhere. Some just go down really far and then have like a chamber, and then go down really, really far and then have a chamber. And so you can kind of learn from the ants' construction about their behavior. And it's super cool. But let me try to just show you some of these pictures.
The other
Why doesn't it?
weekend
like ready.
I was in somewhere in Tennessee in the mountains, and we saw a black bear.
Cool.
So cute. All in my neighborhood. No one believed me. 3 days later, bear gets a bad crop in front of our neighborhood. No! It was fine. It just like broke its leg.
No, it was fine. It just has a crippling injury that might kill it.
No, it ended up being okay. Like in the end, like they were able to like take care of it. That's what it did.
So anyway, really quick. Sorry, Maddie. Because I'm so nice, I will hold another one of these analog retreats next semester when I'm not even a student and I'm just working on my dissertation. But you'll all be invited, and you can all come out. And you can come to this amazing place that I rent. It ended up being $3 a night for everyone involved. And we owned basically a huge area of land. Like, this is across the way, but it was probably about this wide. And you can hold up to 100 people. We own this huge place with our own personal beach. Some little rapscallion kids came over and stole a fishing pole from us. But that we found. But we still said we wanted it anyway. And we hung out at night. We made fires. We cooked. We looked at different insects and stuff. We found a pumpkin. We did a lot of cool light writing, performative photography stuff, which turned out pretty neat. And then another cool thing we did was I took a laser pointer and a syringe and take the syringe to my tripod. When the laser pointer shoots at a tiny ball of water, I went to the lake and got a sample of water. When it shoots at this tiny bead of water, it acts like a lens and it can project this image onto things. And so we projected all these microbes and stuff onto this thing, and we did like, like shadow puppets, but with microbes. And so like we had like, you could see these little euglenias and stuff like crawling around. You do like fun little campfire shadow puppets.
Is it kind of like a microscope?
It was it's like a microscope, but like projector and like with a laser. It was super cool, super cool. So those are just some of the fun things that we can do when you go to things. What?
How do you get to like a bead of water? Just like
With your syringe, you just squeeze it just a little bit, and it makes just a little tiny drop of water on the end of it.
like fall off,
Yeah, the surface tension's still strong enough. It's not too big of a bead. Anyway, so first order of business, despite what it may look like up here, is figuring out a final field trip if you guys want one.
Go to your aquarium.
Okay, so here's some possibilities. The aquarium is possible, super expensive.
It's like $70.
No, it's like
Isn't
30.
there like a certain type there? Because I don't even know the price.
There's a Georgia Tech Day some point, but it's definitely not coming up in the next couple weeks. So that's a possibility. It's super expensive. Another possibility is the zoo. It is a little less expensive. I think it's like $18 or something like that. Cheaper?
It's like 12 for students.
I can do
Okay.
that.
Nice. Mary's going to use her mega brain. It's connected to all the other robot brains in the world. And she's
It
gonna
is
give us a-
$18 for an adult.
What about students?
College student is also $18. These are like discounted rates.
Huh.
The real price is $23. They're lying.
Okay. So,
Somehow I got in there for like 11 or 12 one time.
well, maybe we'll go real late at night and get a ladder.
Let's do some. I've always wanted a giraffe.
Yeah.
I called it.
It's really hard to hide that.
You got a big car, right?
Yeah.
Tie a giraffe on top. One other thing, one other possibility is the botanical garden. Super cool, lots of cool, crazy stuff. They also make lots of different environments. They have like a desert room. They have a jungle room that's actually modeled after the jungle where I work from. And they have lots of little creatures and stuff in there. Has anyone ever been there?
No.
I haven't, but I want to go.
It's, so it's great, and there are these little partridges? No, quails. There's quails running around in this jungle room for some reason. I've never seen a quail in the jungle, and they're really adorable. But I think that would be a cool place to go. And then also, I have a membership. I can get in a female person for free. And so what I would be willing to do is whoever comes, we can take the freeness of my admission ticket and the freeness of the other person's admission ticket that we get, and we can distribute it as like a discount for everyone, so everyone pays like $10 or something like that, if we want to do that. So, are people interested in that?
Where's that membership?
You say jungle room?
This is in Botanical Garden. It's right near Piedmont Park.
Oh,
It's like on top of Piedmont Park.
Okay.
So, sound cool?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So then, what day? What day?
I want to make it at least one of these things.
Yeah.
Would it be during the week?
Can we do it during class?
No.
Ooh.
You're not gonna have enough time.
It's like an hour and a half to get there and back.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
No,
Well,
get
I
there.
mean,
We have
if
an
you
hour
walk.
and a half. We have an hour and a half to get there, go inside. You get down,
Exactly,
walk
yeah.
out, and get back here.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, no, we're not gonna do it on a classroom day. You're gonna need as many of those as you can.
Sounds like a Sunday.
We can do it
What about next Saturday?
next Saturday.
What day?
I'm just suggesting Kate. The
So,
16th.
is that,
I think it's Sunday would be better.
Yeah, we
Okay.
can get Sunday.
What about a next Sunday?
I cannot
I
do
can
the
probably
next
do
three
it next
Sundays.
Sunday.
Actually, the next 3 Sundays. But that's okay.
We don't really need you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Sure, one less ticket.
I could do a Monday evening, or how many people can do next Sunday? Raise your hand.
Probably not, but I don't know.
Monday evening.
I don't know if I have to.
I'd be cool with going like during the week, just like not during class.
Sure. What's getting tricky is, so we'll discuss this more over email. Who wants to do me a favor? Oh, yeah, awesome. Super cool. Can you make this little doodle poll?
Yeah.
And send it out to the class?
Yeah. Like a when is good, maybe?
Yeah.
During the week?
Yeah, that'd be great. Okay, cool. So, Botanical Garden. It's going to be rad. Awesome. Next order of business. We're done with field tripping. Now I'm going to put up our ambient work. This is from another place that was also suggested.
Georgia Aquarium.
Oh yeah, and this is the other big thing. Yeah.
Live or is it like a?
And
No.
a YouTube video.
This is captured.
Oh, that'd be really
Why?
cool. if
They're
it was
still alive.
No, like it goes like right now.
Ah,
streaming.
gotcha,
We've got
gotcha.
We understand.
Yeah. Ew, I think that one just pooped everywhere.
Dude, that.
And And they rub against this glass. If you go up to like the top ballroom place a lot, it's weird. They kind of freak me out. They're like big floating brains.
Are those?
They look like giant
They're-
babies.
They're strange. So anyway, those things are cool, and they're very expressive. And you can think about the weird difficulties that you'd have thinking about trying to get their behavior purely visually. Luckily, most of your guys' animals, you can actually interact with in the real world. They're not stuck behind glass that you can't ever touch. So you can do a lot more cool things, like make them touch.
Cool.
Great, all kinds of opinions. Make them touch electrodes, or have them rub against specific things that you place in their environment. The dolphin porpoise animal. This is kind of a
Is it not a porpoise?
thing.
The porpoise? I
Oh,
don't.
they're the same thing. Porpoise type of dolphin. Okay.
Okay,
We're really distracted.
you sure are.
Distracted enough?
4. One other thing we're going to do is your presentations. You have P3C coming up, right? Who's looked at this thing?
Hey, the
Me first.
It is?
The 21st, the 23rd.
I'm not gonna date so but it says it's on Thursday.
Yeah.
Okay.
What?
On a Thursday, definitely.
It's next Thursday, right?
I know
What about P3B?
Oh my god. It's the 14th, right?
That's what I thought.
Maddie.
So, I'm going to make a deal with you guys. It was currently scheduled on the 14th, from our earlier schedule. I'm going to bump it back for you guys in order to give you a little more time to crank out something awesome before Thanksgiving. But I'm also going to give you guys a set of readings this weekend, but they're not that hard. One of them is about designing for specific places and interactions that take place in those areas, like something interesting up there, like a living room or a kitchen. So very specific places where some of you guys might be setting up your cat things anyway, how you can make use of all the other stuff that's going on in these worlds. And this can be applicable to outside worlds or completely created environments that you design yourself. So there's that. One other reading is actually going to be 2 readings from kind of a magazine thing. There's this magazine thing called Antennae, which is great. Got big pictures, looks cool. One of the readings talks about animals and art kind of general. Read through it. It's got some good, eerie stuff in there. Some parts might be kind of like opaque and weird. Some parts might be like, yeah, this makes sense from that other stuff that used to be opaque. So it might clarify some things for you. And then the final reading, so there's actually 3 readings, is an interview with my old professor, Deke Weaver, who does those big performances about animals and stuff like that. So he's pretty great. He's got all kinds of fun, interesting opinions and more pictures. So cool. Everybody got that?
I have a question.
So this is now going to the 2 weeks from today.
Okay, I have a question. You already have a final.
Do we have a final? I think that's
Did we have a paper?
You sure do.
Okay, so is that
Who?
going to be due the day of our final?
That is due.
Or can that be due like the Thursday before and then we don't have to come to the final?
You don't have to come to any of that. You just send in the paper.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not gonna make you sit here and write it. You can just write it in the comfort of your own home that's full of these weird cybiotic animals that you've created, and then reflect on them and write it, and then email me that thing. I think it says before like 5 p.m. on some sort of date, like a December 14th or something like that.
That's Saturday.
It's something like that.
Oh my god, I graduated that day. Sorry, I got really excited. Wow.
So yeah, rock. Cool. So basically, in terms of your guys' schedule, things that are left for you to do. 2 weeks, you're going to make your interim presentation. This is going to be your full working thing.
In 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks, all of your things are going to be functioning. All of them. All of the interactions, all of the deliverables that you see specified in terms of your things functioning. Inputs, outputs, environmental factors, okay? What you will then do after you present this, you will critique it, you'll come up with ideas, you'll see which things break super easy. Then you're going to have some more days of Thanksgiving, and then there's like 1 more week of school left. So in those last few days, what you're going to be doing is polishing up your thing, fixing whatever broke when you finally demoed it in the 2-week thing from here. And then you are going to document your research and make an Instructable-like thing. You can put it on Instructables. It's a good way to have your work exposed to everyone if you want. But if not, you can just make a nice little documentation that's like, here's an introduction, here's how I built it, here's a conclusion or something like that. And a lot of this will help you put into your final paper too. So that kind of thing. So it all builds together. So you'll be polishing and documenting after your interim presentation. Then your final presentations are going to be, we are going to figure out some sort of demo day-ish time slot where we'll try to get you as much together in a place where we can present all of your works, and we'll like invite people to come in and look at it and see how all these things work, things like that.
You can do it in the library. A lot of English classes do that.
Oh, really?
Like in the first floor in the like multimedia area.
Okay.
Where Jasmine's asleep, that glass software. They usually have like.
Okay, cool. So yeah, I can look into that and try to get us a nice little space to show off all your cool work that then you'll be done with like putting stuff together. And the last thing you'll have to do is just finish up any last bits of documentation and mostly write your reflective essay on like what you've learned in this class and what your projects, how they made you think about different things and stuff like that.
You're gonna obviously provide us with the criteria for that. So it's
Sure.
Like,
I already have.
okay.
Anyway, so that's it. And that's your semester. And the most crazy classes that you're gonna take will be culminated. So it'll be cool. That being said, let's get to the main things we want to do today, which is first I want to talk. Well, let's see. What time is it? 12:33. Okay, so we got an hour. Do you guys want to chat about soft circuits first, or look through a tutorial about using processing to try to debug your code? Are you guys done with talking? You want to do some like, let's type and code thing? We got 2 votes competing against each other.
Processing.
2, okay.
Processing. Stop.
2.
Processing.
Well,
We're tied.
tied. Alex, it's up to you.
What happens when you procrastinate?
Oh, this is the plot of that horrible movie.
Is it all?
Swing vote with, yeah.
No.
Alex, it all comes down to you.
No.
Soft circuits. Okay, great. Everybody,
What movie?
pile up in the middle. Yeah, who's
Oh, I know.
the guy from Bull Durham and
One guy.
Kevin Costner.
Yeah.
That's not
What
called
about
And his daughter, like Abigail Breslin, who can
Sorry.
swing the boat.
Yeah.
Purple time.
I've listened to many bad movie podcasts. They were discussing that.
I saw the thing that we did on the website.
What thing?
What we did yesterday, or what we did on Tuesday. The like soft circuit, like.
Oh, really?
Like we did that.
The button making
That's
it-
like-
On our class's website?
No, on the website.
On, Get What You Want, or whatever it's called, Copenhagen, I'm assuming.
Yeah, that was the whole
Okay.
Yeah, okay, I'm just saying I saw it on there.
On the
You
website
saw-
you told us to go to look at soft circuits, she saw soft circuit.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Oh, I thought you were saying you saw
No.
us.
I thought you were saying you saw, yeah, our
No,
class.
like the project that we did, like, it's on there.
Oh, the how to make a button thing.
The
Yes.
like stop button.
Just a comment.
Nice.
Thank
Very
you
good.
for the support.
Cool.
So what are some perks of, who wants to tell me what a soft circuit is, first of all?
Their kid uses like bendable materials.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Usually it's like researching materials that are different than usually just using wires and
Yeah,
insulated
they're
wires for
bendable.
things, which are still bendable, but maybe not soft. You don't want to cuddle up with your breadboard with wires sticking up out of it.
I kind of thought like you bend it and then you like let go, it just kind of like flashes gravity a little more.
Okay.
You bend the wire and it like stays like that.
They can still, I mean, it depends. They can be, more rigid, hold their
Oh,
own.
okay.
I've seen, like balloons or like basketballs that have stuff on them. But I think mostly it's about having, you typically eat textiles that conduct stuff, and you can make your circuits with these conductible, bendable things that can do certain things that hard circuits cannot. What are some of the pros of doing some soft circuitry then?
More durable.
Durable, in what ways?
You can wash them, you can dim them. They're sewn together, so it's not gonna like wire's not gonna come out.
Okay.
You
So,
can throw them.
more durable in some ways. You can throw them, as I demonstrated in class. They're durable in some aspects. You can wash them. You can do things like that. Some of them you can wash. When they say like you can wash them, sometimes they mean like you can do it once or twice. But after a while, it might actually like degrade and rust. So some soft circuit stuff isn't as durable as it may sound. Also, things are durable in different ways. The soft circuitry is very durable if it's like on your body or something and you have some wires going around that might get like bent or moved around. But if you can actually print out your own circuit board, you just have these like metal inlays and stuff that you can throw around and smash, and it's what's in your phone and things like that. And they can be very small, and they can be way more durable than the soft stuff is. It just usually means like kind of more durable than a loose connection of wires that you just plug into things or try to make little cheap solder joints yourself. Any other, you were saying something?
It was there talking, you can wear them, kind of
Yeah. You can wear them. What's a benefit of just softness?
It's not hard.
Okay, I think you defined it. What's the benefit of it not being hard?
On a really like social level, it's just more approachable and like it doesn't look as foreign, maybe.
There's actually a paper where they compared like the social acceptability of having like some wires in your jacket versus like some like soft leads that go to like soft buttons, that kind of thing. So like social acceptability, there's aesthetic criteria. A lot of these people like and how to get what you want. Everything looks beautiful, right? They document everything. You know, they don't just make like a here's a patch, here's another patch. It's always like, oh, it's a beautiful flowing shape, where these things like intertwine with each other in a pleasing way. So you can do things like that.
Yeah, but
And-
even like an animal like would probably be less afraid of like a piece of felt than wires like sticking out.
Yeah, that's good. More approachable.
Well, and in general, it's like, it's a different tactile experience. So if you make, let's say, if you would make a nice fluffy stroke sensor, like she's going to use with her cats, She has that thing from Hannah's website where there's little bits of conductive yarn and some other bits of conductive yarn and then non-conductive yarn in the middle. When you stroke it, they touch each other, and you get this kind of very nice natural interaction of like, okay, now my cat's rubbing against this thing or whatever. And so you can get interactions that would be kind of trickier to get in other ways. Another benefit of soft circuitry is, in some cases, it can be easier for rapid prototyping. Instead of soldering, you just tie loops on and stuff, as long as you have all the kind of like other background stuff you need. Like you have the conductive thread with you already. You have needles that will work with your conductive thread. That was kind of a hold up. So you can make connections very quickly and easily. Another thing is that sometimes you can make electrical connections in, at least the way I feel, in ways that stick together a bit more easily. So like sometimes, we've had problems with, remember we made the little mouth sensors that you bit down on them? Sometimes you'd be like kind of touching them, but they still wouldn't quite touch each other. And they would, you wouldn't get the connection you wanted as you were expecting while you're biting down. Since these things are kind of soft and fuzzy, they basically, you can think of them as like having tiny little wires going everywhere and a lot more surface area. So when they just barely brush against each other, they make a solid connection. So it's really good for making really good connections. Cool. Enough me jabbering. Let's go around, and I just want people just 1 minute, just like tell me about your 2 ideas for if you wanted to incorporate a soft circuit kind of thing into your project and how you would do it. So, Eric.
Cool. So there were 2 things that I saw. One is a crochet finger sensor that had some conductive thread kind of winding the finger, and just regular thread kind of made like a sweater for your finger.
Okay.
So I made a worm sweater with like conductive thread in the middle, and it changes the resistance when the worm stretches it and like retracts it.
Huh.
So you would just be able to detect like movement. And then there was also this thing called sticky tape sensor, which was basically just it could detect when it was being bent.
So it's like a flex sensor?
It was a piece of tape with a wire and like, I guess fabric is what it was. It looked a little more durable than fabric.
Huh.
But basically when it bends, it changes the resistance.
Hmm.
Sort of like a pressure sensor, but at the same time they said it worked better as like a flap. So I saw it as like a little like trap door that if the worm like went underneath it and bent it back, like you would know he went through the door.
Huh. Cool. Sweet. Okay.
I think kind of like location detectors for both of mine. So like there was a finger sensor where it was like kind of like this circular thing, and then it had string connecting, and you could basically like push in that, and that was very like flexible. So you could like push it in and out and like move it, and it had it connected to like some type of like audio sound, and so depending on how far you moved it and what directions it like changed the sound. So I thought if you kind of made like a maze like inside of like where the worms were, and if they like went through different of these like sensors, it would like make different sounds. And then that's kind of like what I did for this one too. It was like the conductive like pom-poms, so it's basically like a normal shaped pom-pom, and like I just thought if they were in there, it'd kind of be like just location detection. So.
Yeah, so you could use, with the conductive pom-pom, it's basically a ball that has some resistive threads on it and some conductive threads on it. And if you guys, Danielle ran against this the other day, where it said something like, you need to get conductive thread and resistive thread, and this place was trying to sell like resistive thread at like some marked up price. It's just regular thread. So it's just most fabric doesn't conduct electricity, so don't pay some sort of extra price for special resistive thread if you can avoid it. But yeah, so those pom-poms, when you kind of stroke them, they'll get into kind of a different configuration, and the electricity will flow through or make a connection differently than before. And so yeah, you can have them as almost like little landmines in your soil, and have them get poked around. Cool.
was a simple fabric pressure sensor, which is, I guess, what we did.
Well, that wasn't as much of a pressure sensor. That was more of just a button because we just had a binary like on off.
Okay, well, so then I took from what we learned on Tuesday, I kind of applied that project to our project, and I thought that, you know how we got the LED to light up? I thought maybe that could be an incentive for the cat to press it, or can cats detect lights like that?
I think they can see. Yeah.
I know that.
No, I think cats can.
Just makes so stupid, everyone. All right.
Ah.
I see what you mean. What? They like react to it? Yeah. So like if whenever they like press the button and the light lit up, like a mouse would be released maybe. So like that would be their incentive to get another mouse. Would be like seeing the light.
Just
go
gives them
on.
extra feedback or something.
Yeah, like and then that's what's going to happen.
Cool. And you have one more?
Well, that's what, I mean, that was, yeah, my other one was a simple fiber pressure sensor, which was kind of similar, only the animal would just step on it and it would release it. Whereas this one now has an LED, which would provide with more feedback, allowing it to know that the mouse is going to be ejected.
Cool.
And pictures and stuff on my phone and
Wow.
drawings. They don't like my drawings. So I did that. I thought the zipper switch was really cool. I really like that when you mentioned that class. I was like, that's the one I chose.
Did anyone see the zipper switch? Do you know what it is?
I really want a zipper switch, but not for animal-related things.
Yeah, this
Just
one
because.
isn't entirely animal related. I just thought maybe like the toy could be zipped up in a case. So that way it's not like always running and wasting battery time. And then when they like took it out, the zipper switch was like, oh, it's open. Let's play with it. And then this one was like a tilt sensor pom-pom. I thought we could use that instead of the photoresistor. I felt like it'd be more accurate. Just like what if it actually like somehow the photoresistor's values weren't quite right. 'Cause ours was really finicky. So I thought the tilt sensor would be more accurate. Like it's like, wow, it's clearly being played with if it's tilting back and forth a lot.
But how does their tilt sensor pom pom work?
It seemed, I think it was just like a regular tilt sensor. I wasn't quite sure. It seemed like it would get like, the more it was tilted, the higher the value would be that it was outputting.
So from what I've seen that they have a little pom pom that's basically just a nice conductive ball.
Yeah.
And then they have like 5 pads, and they have the one that's on the wrist, and then like when you rotate your wrist this way, the pom pom flops this way, and it touches this conductive pad over here. Versus like I turn it this way, and now it flops onto this conductive pad.
I wasn't quite sure. I thought there was like something inside of it. It was almost like an accelerometer or something inside of there, but it's more like it's being it tells you like which one of the pads it's touching. Okay, that makes more sense.
Maybe, yeah. I think it's more like that.
Okay, well then.
But
that
maybe they had a
wouldn't
different one,
be
but-
quite so useful. Or you could have them like on the wall, right behind it. It's like something up against them.
Or you could have its normal resting state is just against the pad, and then when they bat it, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, now it's open or whatever.
That's it.
So you have something like that. Cool.
Really quickly, my ideas were, there was just a nipple sensor, which was just like a giant ball which sends like pressure in different ways. So the different ways for my idea to kind of go through with it was, it could either be on yogurt's side, the cat side, and that would just sense activity, and it would just be like, oh, yogurt is playing with this. Like if we had it on a servo and it's like swinging around, it's like, okay, yogurt's playing with this, and that could sense something. Or I could
Cat's
take
name is Yogurt.
That's so great. He has a milk mustache. Okay. I could take the idea of like the pressure sensor within my update. My idea revolves around this idea of a pocket cat, or like a cat I kind of carry around and I interact with that. So with my pocket cat, I could use the idea of a pressure sensor to send certain messages to yogurt. So like squeezing it or something like that. But it could very well just be the knit ball. There was a fabric LED strip, which isn't very complex in its idea, but it could, once again, it could either be showing feedback to yogurt on either the tower or even other things like collars or food bowls.
but like it's just an LED strip, so it would just be like indicating something. Or it could be showing feedback from yogurt to the pocket cat. It could indicate that yogurt is present or something like that. But yeah.
Cool.
Okay, so the first sensor I looked at was the woven pressure pad, because that thing's cool and durable and stuff. And obviously we're already using a pressure pad, and it would be better to use a woven one because it's flexible, and so we could actually fix it to things that aren't flat.
Yeah.
So like tree branches.
Exactly.
So that one's pretty much a no-brainer, because better sensor.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and then the other sensor I was considering looking at would be, it's called the stroke sensor, and it was a bunch of conductive, like if you know, like rug carpeting thingies, like that, where if you go and you disturb them, it detects that. So it's not really a button, it's just like if you go past it. So I'm wondering if, thinking that might even work better than a pressure sensor, because it would be more like the animal would be more likely to do it on accident almost. Like,
Just passing by.
like if it just passed by a part of the branch that it couldn't bypass the stroke sensor, and it also is flexible and would be easy to put in a weird location.
And you make like a little yarn bomb like ring around that branch or something. So like if they walk up to it, they have to walk
Yeah.
over this, you know, stroke sensor or something like that.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I think those could work well.
And
Okay, I'm not as much a genius as she is. I haven't actually been good ideas. I don't think, anyway.
You're so self-deprecating, Larry.
everything I do is terrible.
The first idea I had was I liked seeing the 3D printed sensors. Since they weren't they were, out of all like the soft circuits I saw, they seemed the most durable, since they were printed out of things that weren't yarn. And since they were bending sensors, I could put them in, just like stick them to things, like stick them in between bark or tape them to a branch or something, or nail them to a branch, something like that. And they're nice perches for things like birds. So if you have a nice long one and a bird lands on it, obviously it's going to wobble a bit. So you'd be able to tell, oh, a bird's here. Activate that thing. The other one I saw was the circular knit stretch sensor. And I thought that would be pretty cool if, since I guess as far as yarn goes, it'd be alright. I was just worried if it got wet, it would like throw off the sensor or something like that.
It might.
If you use the stretchy sensor as something to hang a perch or something like that off of, when things land on it or things get to it, obviously it'll feel the stretch.
Totally.
And then you can be like, oh, it's time
Totally.
to activate this thing.
Yeah. Have either of you guys ever knitted before?
No.
No. That's not too hard.
It does sound fun, actually. I'd like
Yeah.
to learn.
If you use a loom, it'll be really easy.
I just do it fold over.
Yeah. Does anyone have access to a loom?
They're like $50 at most.
Oh, okay.
$99.
Yeah, that's true.
Cool.
There's a girl who did a weaving project, Kate Farina, if anyone knows her, in my project studio last semester. And yeah, she got a bunch of cheap looms for like $10-15 at Michael's. Yeah. Yeah, so like the weave sensor or anything. Those would be really cool. I think those would work really well with your guys' projects. And you could get much more robust results than like the little pressure pad that you normally have. That thing's usually just used for like putting underneath something very hard and regularly shaped, like people use them put on like bookshelves. They're just making their own like scales. And so like I take this book off and I know that this book weighs 500 kilograms. Then it goes like, okay, you're reading this Asimov selection of stories or something like that. It's kind of cool, yeah. But it has to be very hard coded and very specific. But yeah, those things are those pressure sensors usually get online and stuff like that. They're much more for like industrial or like hard applications. Where I think some of these like really simple to make soft pressure sensors or I'm here sensors like the stroke sensor. I think this could be really cool for you guys' projects. Yeah. Awesome. Any other things that people thought about, or they were like, Alex, that was an amazing idea, and I want to take your idea and put it in my thing? Is there any things like that came up?
thinking of like with yours, which is a smoke sensor. If you had that, like, I know you're not going to change product now, but it'd be cool if you could have that like out near like a back door or something like that. And if the cat like hit it, then like somehow the door would open. Like kind of like
by the door.
yeah, so like let the cat or the cat out or something. Like, interact with the cat, like, or just anything.
Yeah.
That would be
Yeah, totally.
With this whole thing, I think it'd be cool, but like it might be frustrating that obviously like it kind of. I think there could be a lot of accidental like just a human walking by or something like that, which actually could be really awesome. Like for errors like that in my project, I'm using it as a good thing or like something that lends to it. But just be aware that that will probably happen and to like make that intentional.
Probably put it in a place where it can't be accidentally bumped into. Maybe
Unless you want it to be accidental.
yeah, that too. Like what you were saying. Somehow use that to my advantage. So I'm probably not actually going to use that tilt sensor. Just use that resistor. So.
And if it's giving you weird data, just you can attenuate that data.
We were just going to do more resistors and put them in series with each other because the number difference wasn't big enough.
Okay.
And sometimes, like if it was brighter in the room and it was exposed to light, it was like it would work better. And if it was like a little darker in the room and it was exposed to light, then it wouldn't work because the values wouldn't change enough. So I was going to do resistors in series.
And are you just doing like a running average to keep like?
No, it's like if it gets below this number, I think it's below a certain number, then we start.
So something that might be easier than trying to like go out and establish this very clear threshold of like it's dark here, it's bright here, is what you do is you pull the sensor reading all the time. So let's say it's between 0 and 1,000, and let's say it sits in this room and it says like 500, 520, 530, 500. And what you do is you pull it every second or so, or probably a little faster than that. And you get like the past 100 values or something like that, and you average them together. And so it's like, okay, well, it's around 500. But then when your pom-pom gets batted away, it shoots up to like 900 or something like that. Or maybe it goes down even further. Maybe it gets darker for some reason, whatever. But then all you have to do is you set your threshold to be not when the sensor's this specific number, but when the new reading is greater than a certain amount of what the normal average is.
I have that for my Cricut project, but I only did that in the setup. Are you saying do that
Do it continuously.
in the loop?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. And so then, as like the sun sets during the day, you're gonna get less ambient light in your house or something like that.
Okay.
But your
So
system will be able to
yeah.
take care of that, of these like low frequency changes, and just be looking for these high frequency, like, oh, there's something big happened. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Cool. And so speaking of numbers and Arduinos and stuff, if everybody can, let's try to get our processing to show us more things. So we're going to try to run the graph tutorial by Tom Igo. And so if you have different sensors or things like that, get a computer, get on whatever computer you're best using, and we're going to try to show us a thing that can visualize our data. And then we'll even try to see if we can find a thing to help us like save our data if we want to like look at it later in like an Excel document. Okay?
Which processing should we use? 1.5 or 2?
This one should hopefully not matter. So whatever one's most convenient for you. Okay?
I figured it out last night. I'm working over here.
Cool.
Alright, you're a groundhog.
I'm doing it right now, and
I will know the average like conform right finish our project. Oh really?
so if you
Yeah,
remember
that's fun as well.
what you do is probably like how we handle the button presses, which is basically like every loop, it just goes like we have like an array of like current buttons that were currently pressed and an array of old buttons.
Yeah.
And so beginning each loop is like, our old button is what our current buttons speed, and the current buttons are what the buttons are right now. And then you just compare your current button and old buttons each time to see if there's a change. Because you only compare it with like your old buttons from.
I'm gonna email you guys some
Yeah, I'll do that.
tutorials.
As far as like updating the average though, I was thinking of doing like a rolling update, like take the average and multiply by like 99, and then have the newest value.
Right.
And then divide by 100. You know what I mean? So the average is changing slightly each time. But you were saying like, you're noticing like a big change in here.
Well, it's pretty much like that.
Well,
But
that's what I'm doing.
it's pretty much just comparing, that's just a really easy way to compare, like, hey, store your old value, which was a second ago, and compare it to your new value.
Okay.
But like, the average would obviously probably do better, but,
Okay. Well, the old value and new value I think works too. And I guess just if there's like a giant difference in the two, then it's like, oh, there. Shouldn't have a really long, so I'm not really mad. Recognize
my electronics are slowly like,
somebody used an Arduino to make an automatic shiny catcher in the Pokemon. I want to.
I've heard about that.
An Arduino and a photoresistor.
What's a shiny catcher?
Okay, so in Pokemon, there's about 1 in 3 million chances, 2 million-ish, of encountering a shiny Pokemon that looks different. And when you encounter it, the animation at the beginning, the bottom screen goes dark for longer because the animation is longer. So what they did than a normal Pokemon encounter, right? So what they did is they had a photoresistor on their bottom screen, and whenever they had they soldered wires to the buttons of the 3DS, and it still worked just like a normal 3DS when they put input. And they would go in this certain pattern and go over and over again. The photoresistor would detect if there was a longer one and stop and alert them and tell them, come catch this.
Ah,
And I want to try to make one because people will buy it.
that's awesome.
Yeah, no,
They'll
those
pay you
are
money for the
extra.
shiny Pokemon?
I've
Yeah,
seen,
it's legit.
on average, every Pokemon game I've gotten, I've seen one, and that's because I'm lucky.
Yeah, I think maybe one. My cousins, when I was little, always like fudged me out of the holographic card. Always. It'd be like a squirrel. I'm like, because I knew nothing about it. Meet up your
Yeah, so Arduinos at work, man.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was pretty proud of that guy. I was trying, do you know anything that I could use to trust that you can get out soldering in my 3DS?
You could use
I don't want to void my warranty.
you could use
Because it didn't look very
Like a
hard, and he
step
gave me his source code, I asked him.
oh, you actually asked the guy for his already? Okay.
What? I don't waste time.
Okay. Pokemon over. Let's talk about graphs.
It's like
So that was a
fake-
really cool example.
It's
Uh.
like fake, it's fake, you know, fake animals.
So, do people see what the point of this tutorial is? Sometimes you get these crazy numbers, so you're like looking at your photoresistor, and you're seeing this like 500 blah 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 blah. You're seeing all these crazy numbers go over, and sometimes it can be hard to like set your thresholds or figure out things that work with it. And so it can be very nice to see a nice little like graph that's scrolling and be like, oh okay, well my cat goes like this, it goes like this, or you know. whatever.
Is that kind of like your average window and you learn right?
Exactly, but that was part of that touche thing we made,
Yeah.
and so that was a little more sophisticated. But this will be one that you guys can more easily hack yourself and give yourself personal information. So it should just be. I sent out an email to everyone.
oh, excuse me.
Yeah.
It's supposed to, it's the most simple sensor reading. So that we don't have to mess with our approach.
You can just grab one out of the sensor box.
Yeah.
Right?
Does it matter what kind of sensor you use?
Not really. You might want to try sensors that you would normally be using in your regular projects. But if you just want to get something graphic, you can just go grab something.
We have the extra pad, don't we?
Yeah, I don't want to dig through our project stuff right now.
Oh
I could hook up
That's
our
also kind of annoying to set up.
project to the Arduino.
All kinds.
Hey, you wanna look at it?
Project, yeah.
Arduino.
They could hook up our project right now, so we can get the averages. And start that with the graph. Yeah. I think I would do like the idea of the thing releasing mics. Because honestly, I can just cut the front section of it and then cut the sides off of all compartments and just hit it. There's the mics in there that are moving.
I'm gonna try a field effect transistor and a magnet.
They're trying to escape it. All the areas of it are blocked out. So you can't get to the front.
You could, by steal you mean
Yeah.
grab and then pay for a new one.
Keep it back, which we don't like soldering. I'm scared of soldering.
We don't do that.
What? What are you scared of soldering for? The worst that it does is melt your skin.
Yeah, once the cat finishes it.
Also, my
You don't have to put lumber in there?
my keys are still broken, so
Yeah.
it's weird to watch.
Well, at least your computer works. Like, it's pretty bad when you get random shutdowns and sparks. And you're not always going to that environment. Or,
I think you need the back.
that's what I tried and I can't get my external hard drive to work and I have 750 gigs. It's not too heavy that much. You can just have some. So we're gonna do this but yeah, it did. And my computer just told me back up and stronger. Like it's darker one way.
You need the back everything.
I'm at the end of my lifespan. Get everything you care about off of me. Which I can't get my hard drive. I might have to buy another hard drive.
Your hard drive just like not connected.
It won't detect it, which could mean my hard drive. I thought you said something working fried. Or is it's already
External hard drive, but
It's
I might
just
have to
hard
get
drive.
it.
I already tried it out, but I can't just put my documents
Okay.
in a zip file.
You probably
I
want.
don't see how like
It
this
don't work.
code.
Too much.
I'm just gonna keep it.
So these are more for visualizing sensors. So like if you have like a a photoresistor or even like a capacitive touch sensor.
It wouldn't even.
In fact, that's how about we do that with you?
Yeah.
We're gonna grab two.
I can break it down in parts. I just need to go through it.
Do you have two resistors at all?
All of my projects and stuff are on
No.
T-square if I have to. Yes, you can get the old T-square.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yay, weirdness.
Slowing down.
What's yours
entirely half of
doing?
the keyboard broke, and I was just like, ah.
What are you hooking it up to?
Oh, I think mine actually is like a fire hazard now. Like I don't want to leave it at home and plug it.
Eric's is working. I like your background.
Nice.
Well, just run the drive thing. So.
What is the sensor?
Random electrical data.
No.
Rock. Can we do anything?
Nope.
Okay. So what's the input? Your input's right here. This one right here, right?
Yeah.
So let's
Solid.
so we can get kind of so people, here's what we're looking at here. We're just trying to make a nice little way for you guys to do very basic visualization of all this data that's streaming into your stuff so that you can help debug it. It helps you, because otherwise you always have to look at the serial monitor and there's just numbers flashing by. It can be very hard to interpret this data in ways that help you reprogram whatever you need it to do. So right now we just have like a sensor just poking out of something, and it's giving us not very good, very noisy data. We can see it's very noisy.
So are you guys
But we can-
messing with the sensor at all?
But we can still see that he is like, every now and then he like pokes it with his finger and we get some sort of like large change like that. So we can hook it up in all kinds of different ways, and then just try to interpret our data better. And then once you have your data going into processing like this too, you can also save it as like a text file. If you wanted to like chart this data in Excel or something later, you want to do something more scientific, or let's say that you wanted to record a 24-hour period and just see how many times your cat like bashed the thing or something like that. You could save all of this data to like a text document, look at it in Excel in the morning, and
Label it. And
then examine was this working, or did we just get like it's just high the entire night, those kind of things. Okay.
So-
So let's see if people can get their graphs working. Yeah.
I've been trying to do this. How do I like hook this up without the touche? So I'm just trying to see if the circuit is closed.
Yeah.
So I'm running 5 volts into it,
Uh-huh.
and then it comes back out. And then I need ground, right?
So the proper way to do it would be the same way that you make the water sensor. Remember that? So we had like a 5-volt high, then we had a probe that went to ground but through a resistor, and then it also went to the input. And if it's closed right, then we'd get like more voltage going there.
So I need to use that.
You do need to use that. For very quick though, and to be slightly more unsafe, we can try just plugging. So one's 5 volts, right? Is this 5 volts?
Yeah.
Okay. Now this is A0.
Yeah.
Okay. And so those aren't touching right now, right? So the problem with not grounding that at all is that you get this noise. That's from the electricity in the air actually like polarizing and stuff like that. But now, if I touch it, you can still get some sort of thing. But the reason you want that extra ground.
to it.
Try it out. Let's find out. So okay, so it's always usually grounded. It's interesting to see that
Yeah.
the
No, I would just keep them, either that or trade them for,
and you might want to look at the
oh, are you? did you-
capacitive touch sensing thing that I just sent out. It basically will use 2 pins on your Arduino, an output and an input, but then you just need one little pad in each place. You don't need it to actually like cover. You don't need the worm to actually touch from one side of the thing to another.
Yeah.
You just need like a single pad there. And what it does is it basically sees when a worm or something capacitive touches it. It reacts a little bit more. It's like the touche, it's capacitive touching. But when it just approaches it, you'll actually see this kind of ramp up, and when it touches it, you'll see it, and then like when it leaves, it'll like fade away. So you can get maybe a more robust interaction, even though it's still pretty much binary.
Yeah.
And it might work better for you, and yeah. It might be easier to build your device around it than rather having to figure out how to get 2 leads that the worm's always connecting. Yeah.
Where was that?
I just sent out an email. Yep. It's a nice little capacitive touching tutorial. And there's a little library too that makes you even do even like cooler, crazy shit.
How do I connect the whole, like, how do I bridge between Arduino and processing? Like,
Ah.
do I,
You gotta do it before December, because in December they
should I open both Arduino and processing, and, or like,
Yes.
So hack Pokemon will be possible.
and do I put them in the same directory or something, or?
No. So they're talking to each other over the serial.
Hack XY.
Yeah.
So
So remember when we made serial commands?
Yeah, I just didn't know that processing could go.
Yeah, so processing reads in a serial, and that's what, if you look at this tutorial that I sent out, why does it look all weird?
Oh, no, that was just,
it's pretty clear that.
Ah, okay.
yeah.
Okay, no, I'm just happy that
So if you
you
scroll down, it's going to have
because
a processing sketch, so import processing serial. That's basically waiting to receive data from your Arduino. And then it should have an Arduino sketch here too. So it's basically saying like serial, print line, read whatever. So in a very simple way, like you have your temperature sensor up there or whatever, you can use that code and you just add in the serial, print line, analog, whatever, and then your processing sketch will try to read the same.
Cool.
Well, that's what it'll be as soon as somebody else gets it.
Thanks, Zach.
Like, it's like when it catches it, turns off the sound signal.
That's cool. and it's like,
Huh.
Once this thing starts.
Why is it going up now?
And then it's like, oh, it really another way. Because like the sound will keep going off until it catches it. Which is the sound. I'll just ask them.
One thing.
Okay, sorry.
How's it going, guys? How's Pokemon research coming?
We were discussing Pokemon,
Okay.
but also
We're also
the
actually doing
graph
this.
works by itself, but it's making the photoresistor work with the graph because we haven't used one yet.
Okay.
Do you want
I don't
flour? I love
know if that's the proper way to hook up your photoresistor.
It's probably not, no.
Yeah. So I would
That's
look
why
that
I
up
have
first.
I have. Wait, no, where did I get the sucker for? I did open the source code for the Pokemon thing. It's pretty cool.
She actually got the source code from the guy.
Nice.
Yeah, see, I saw an opportunity. I'm like, I'm gonna play with my Arduino myself now. I'm
Cool. Well, I'm glad you guys have finally found these for Arduinos. Anyway.
whatever, cheating at Pokemon. Alright, here, Larry, here's my the
Cool. So yeah, you want to figure out how to hook up the photoresistor properly to get it working. All right, cool. What's up, dudes?
Well, we're working on this right now, but I also just had a general question about our project.
Yeah.
So remember you made a suggestion that we have like the accelerometer plus 2 photoresistors inside the lights that are going to be running around. And like one photoresistor put this way and this way to make it turn towards the darkness, you know?
I was thinking not accelerometer, but vibrator.
With vibrator?
Yeah.
Oh. So what that'll still make it move?
So I was thinking, yeah, have you ever seen, you're on a computer right now, Google Bristlebot.
Well, you need a resistor. My main question was like, so that
And
needs
then
to
you
be
need a
an
resistor so
individual
that's not
functioning circuit with power by itself, so it's portable, right?
That's why I
You're
brought my
saying
breadboard
have
over
a sound, like a
I'm
beeping
bad at
noise, and then
breadboards.
when it's caught,
It's really simple.
I'll send you
I send you
it.
No, I actually know how-
in addition to the
know.
code, I send you another one.
I guess I could have this for it in like a small.
I want your Gmail, sorry.
Yeah.
I did my
So that was
Gmail.
question.
So imagine 2 of those. So this thing, basically the vibration motor turns on and it starts
Yeah.
driving around.
That's really cool.
So if you had 2 of those hooked up, they would both, if you turned on one, it would start vibrating around, maybe go this way. If you turn the other, it would vibrate around.
Yeah,
Okay, so you
So
turn
then-
on when there's.
Yeah, turn it on when there's the
Really?
corresponding photoresistors go
So
on.
this word is just like darkness, turn on.
Exactly.
Well, we turn the opposite one.
Yeah.
This photoresistor caught something.
Sure, exactly.
Turn the opposite one.
Yeah, and then you would just have a thing that once your whole circuit thing got turned on, you'd have a little speaker on it that would just make like a chirping sound, and you could make it pretty loud. Basically, it
Which
depends
one?
on how much resistance you have
Picture?
in the thing.
Yeah, and
Making stuff from Arduino is not too terribly hard.
Yeah, I understand that code. I'm
You
excited.
probably want to use one of the AT Tinys.
Okay, that's
uh,
cool.
Yeah, that sucker's easy. You just put a resistor
Yeah,
in,
you can
basically.
find like little speakers, like this.
Near
which-
resistors.
even like
And it's
headphones.
purple,
Like if you
red,
think about
red.
headphones, that's taking
It needs a
usually about like 5 volts
orange or
something like
red,
that.
red, orange, red, something.
And you can hear people's like earbud headphones from like across the room.
Yeah.
What?
Um,
Hearing things?
Especially the Apple ones.
so for one of their projects, they're having they're gonna have this.
He's cruising around.
This
Yeah.
thing?
Yeah, so you can make this little thing. I mean, you could take 2
We could do
Bristlepots
this.
and just make a thing that sits on top of them that controls them. And
You
that'd be
could
rad.
put like a mouse on top of this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we're gonna need to get on this like now.
Yes.
Try that store that they changed their hours. We went there at night. And
Really?
I went there and I like wanted to knock on the door, and let us in.
They were
Guy
scared of us.
Saw me and literally hid in the back of the store. I was like, do I look like I'm going to
Yeah,
hit?
yeah, like they were really scared of us. And then when we got back in the car, he like went up to the window and peered out.
Please let me in. It was the guy at
The weird little local electronics
yeah, it's
store.
just these old electricians who just own a bunch of like electric stuff.
But anyway, they have this independent thing that's going to zoom out of their cat device, and it needs to chirp. It needs to communicate back to the main central station when it has been caught. And so you can do this with like radios and things like that. Just, like,
Do it
things like
Bluetooth.
XBs, Bluetooth. You can do
I'm
that.
scribbling
That gets a
on
little
my
tricky and
scribbler.
more expensive. And so what we were thinking about was the thing when it runs around, it just emits a high-pitched squeal or some sort of sound And there's on the main station, we just listen for this sound, this specific frequency that it's emitting. And if we hear it, the mouse is still alive. If we don't hear it, then it's dead. Yeah, I think it'd be cool. So yeah, you're gonna want to buy vibration motors. We have one back here that you can borrow or replace. You should probably purchase more of those.
Did you get it from Spark Fun?
I did get it from Spark.
Okay.
Spark Gun is
I'm gonna try the other Python. Probably just gonna
Yeah.
look at them.
I mean, they're super easy to use. Yeah. So like, I think you might be able to get slightly bigger ones, but I bet this would still work. Yeah.
By myself on the floor, I'm on the table.
Okay. Here, we'll come over to my computer.
I did not like the rolling chair.
What is that mess?
I'll just hide this stuff in here.
Too bad you're stuck to my chair, man. Lost your freedom.
Is it bristle pop?
That's kind
Yeah,
of
so they're
hilarious.
usually.
The one that's like really short. But we also have 5 minutes.
Should I get
I'm
like,
not sure if you want to.
I'll roll with it.
Because I'm going to get out of here.
With the mouse,
Because I have
everyone's like runs on a
It's
Oh, yeah.
Thursday. Well, every Tuesday also.
$3 vibration motors.
Do you have a quiz every day after this class?
It's 20% of my grade, and it's every
Put like
day.
anti-tiny, because you know how to make anti-tiny, make something blink.
Yeah.
Instead of making LED blink, you just.
I caught most of it.
Yeah.
And so now I'm just going to open up like the.
What? No, that was me.
How would you like it?
I'm happy that that guy gave me it. I'm serious, man. Why
What?
can't I use
Yeah, you need a
press
little battery
buttons?
on there. You need for the mouse itself.
No,
you're
I'm
gonna
glad
need
we know Arduino, so now we can switch our settings.
sensors, an Arduino, an AT-Tiny probably, 2 vibrators, and flat.
Oh, this thing?
Speaker.
This is a bristle box.
Yeah.
Maybe I can just.
Oh, I think we just put on a Bristol.
There's 4 other compartments you can do. I could do like 3 mice that escape, and then once it's caught, all 3 mice has like kitty treat or something like that. Instead of, because I make 4 mice, so it might take more time than I'm thinking.
I would say try one
Try to
mouse.
just make 1 mouse, yeah, that's what I was thinking, try to one. And then, depending on how successful that goes, try to make more. Try to push, and then if that's more successful, I'll make 2.
Oh, this is called a push button.
Yeah.
Is it actually a button?
It's a switch, and when it's on high power, it pops out. When it's low power. Look how simple.
That's great.
Okay.
I was thinking,
Push button
so every
switch.
compartment.
Ordering
has
some
things
push
like
button
2 or 3.
switches. Done. I don't even care. Alright,
Alright,
Larry.
here we go.
I feel like once we get the first one finished, the other 2 should be pretty easy, especially if we document it well.
I think that one would be better if we had a pressure sensor and a photoresistor, because like how, a pressure sensor, so like put a crawl on
Try
it.
finger real quick.
Oh man, that's intense.
Yeah, so it vibrates a lot.
Yeah, that's really strong.
Yeah. I just have to hold it in place because of these fingers solder. Just like touch my finger. They're like,
That's good.
That's so
you use
cool.
one of those to make it wiggle.
Yeah.
One might, and then the other one. Okay.
Exactly. Okay, so it's actually going on.
That's actually, I'm pretty sure the bunny that I have like a little.
Whoa.
These wires
Here we go.
are,
Here we
the
go.
wires are pretty cracked. You can't touch it if you don't do it.
Oh, wait.
This is a vibrator.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So it's just going on every time it lights up.
Oh, okay. Wait, maybe they'll like that better.
Apparently, according to this,
Yeah.
there's not much of a difference between
So you can put that to make a very simple thing.
Well, we'd have
move
to play
around
with the
somewhat
photoresistor.
randomly. Yeah.
Maybe it's not.
So yeah, make one of
This
those
much
as
light
soon
is
as
about
you
800, and total darkness is 1,000.
like this one. Yeah.
Oh,
And
good.
here
Crying.
is, yeah.
This one? Okay, that's perfect. I would start off with this one,
Yeah.
and then.
Start with this one, get an AT-Tiny.
There's 11 ones right over there.
And.
What?
I think I have
LED.
No.
Still have
No,
my
mine.
microphone and all of those.
Well, we
Yeah.
got the photoresistor working.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So it's one of those.
Hey Mary,
Cool.
should I
We should consider using
Sounds good.
well, that's trying the photoresistor in our
Yes, I
project.
do.
So that's part of the reason I
I have
grabbed
a
one.
question.
Yeah.
Whoa!
Okay.
Yeah, I should grab our project, right? Or you gotta grab the project?
So what do you guys? What are your plans?
Oh, we got the footer resistor working in the garage.
Oh, nice.
Going
I need to go look at this. Okay.
Sunday, like right
She'll just kind of fighting.
Rocket.
But I'm totally
It runs at about 100.
Wait, so you're the cat post?
All right, cool.
Cool, and then
Yeah. Let's see the graph.
I know.
I know that you've been able to do that.
No, I
Tonight I
know.
might be able to do some stuff.
Oh, we never used it.
I can do some research.
Cool.
I can look up, I can look up to see if.
It shouldn't be that hard. You already have the serial
I
output.
really-
I couldn't
Sure.
actually get it to.
go.
To run, just copy it from that website. Anyway, that's part of your tiny
So
homework.
yeah, Larry, something called push button exists.
Yeah,
I'm
get
gonna make
a
it.
few
But
of
just make a
those.
board that fits on my 3DS.
Like a shield, but for the 3DS.
What?
Cool. But what are you guys gonna do for your projects?
We're going to actually be
I will
working on it.
investigate how hard it is to make one of those woven sensors.
Cool.
Yeah, but
You
we
should
we need to
you
grab
should
that's
do it.
right?
What?
We need to grab those things.
Yeah.
I will come actually going
Okay.
Cool.
because I have to come to class tomorrow
Yeah.
too.
Get it going. Try to get a sensor on a tree.
With what we have and
Oh,
make
Mary,
it
can I
now.
steal your record?
Yeah. And so we need to have it hooked up to the. It would need
How's your
to
stuff
be
going?
out.
My version of Constantine didn't have Windows speakers in there,
Which
and then like,
be releasing
it was
now.
silly, because the internet was just like, everything was just like,
But it's the.
we'll put it back in the next generation of processing.
So this
It's
is
like,
Do you have like 2.2 or do you have like 1.5?
it's like 2.2.
It should
Okay,
be
so yeah,
that.
maybe the old press.
We would need to use an
And
A1.
What version of processing would you use?
Okay, so resistors will.
I have no
Yeah.
clue.
Speaker will make it.
And then they said,
Yeah.
oh, I'll just probably send you a huge diagram for potential things.
Yeah, I'd say like 4 or 5, because I want to make this thing
Just because
But
Pocket Cat can kind of like do anything if I document any version of him, and then I just want to find like the best solution which make
And we need like little,
I would start actually doing things rather than just.
kind of batteries.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, these are the only
So-
batteries that that store has.
What are the parts that you specify?
Yeah.
We're going to get
There, which is
You can go on Spark.
Cool. So you made one?
But for the time being, we can hook it up to this battery,
Okay.
it's gonna be
What
portable,
other
and we can like walk
Um,
with it and see if it's dry, you know what I mean?
and then just like.
So while we're waiting on
Or
our
like transferring over the
batteries and Spark, when we get any.
Okay. So internet connection from Arduino to your
but it shouldn't be too bad.
house to your phone or something.
I have forgotten how to
Figure
use
that,
the microphone, 'cause I did.
Those should be pretty good to hold you to.
I don't think it's.
I would say the next thing that you would need also, if you're gonna put like vibration motors or something like that.
I'm gonna,
do a
the
vibration
microphone
motor?
I have might
I'm not
detection, and so
Okay.
It'll probably- it'll be-
Figure that, solidify it, and start ordering your stuff.
You know how we went to
Orders should go up by Friday.
Radio Shack, and they're like, oh, we don't have microphones? They had it. Yeah. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah, check that out.
Cool. Sounds good.
If Spark
If anybody has any
has
questions,
anything,
let me know.
a lot of
Definitely
the
email
stuff
you,
that
make
I
sure that
bought,
what happened last time.
I ended up having to like make
Cool.
a circuit board,
Awesome.
but SparkFun usually
Although
has like
last
a
time was a
chip
bit of a-
that is already the circuit, you don't have to buy as many resistors and stuff like that. So, we can try but, so I guess we can work on this like Saturday
Nice.
afternoon.
Because my next class is the one where we film the
Okay,
commercial, and
yeah,
all we have
okay,
left to
so-
do is the editing.
yeah, it doesn't
That's not my
matter.
job.
Whatever-
So
Cool.
it's like, you guys are in
Whatever
the
works
class.
for you is fine, and I can work on it by myself.
One of your classes, you have to make a commercial?
No, we were in we pitched an idea to the Unlit Ends of Loyalty contest, so we
But
can make them a commercial.
I think we're good.
And they said ours was pretty
I'm not
cool,
too concerned.
so they
But
gave
did
us
you
$10,000,
understand, like,
and
they
they
want
told
to
us
see
we're
both-
10,000?
Yeah.
Oh, was this the thing about,
Yeah.
like, Aaron Hennessy's working on that, I think, right?
I think so.
Yeah, with the buzz.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
we had Buzz come in and we
Alright.
got to hang out with him all
I'll see you
day.
later.
We recorded a bunch of things and pretty great.
Cool.
It was kind of a surprise to me because I didn't really know when we were recording, and then my professor just said, "Yeah, so remember you guys recording? You start recording Friday."
Which professor?
John Thornton, and he had told us. I was just wasn't paying attention, and so all of a sudden my weekend where I was planning to do a bunch of homework turned into be here all weekend, all day. It was fun, but I'm still recovering since nobody slept that week.
the vibrators don't start moving till they see light. They're gonna be stuck inside of here.
Yeah.
Like don't
So you
seem to
can-
be moving, and then once they start moving and then stop moving.
That could be a very good interaction
Yeah.
of like, once it's exposed to light, then they start driving off.
Yeah. I was just gonna think of having them constantly going. Then I thought they probably won't even be moving while they're in there. The photoresistors are what makes them go.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's elegant. Okay, there's that. Is this your touche?
No choice.
That was mine?
No. All the rest of yours.
Oh, sure. But I mean, like, is this what you were building with? Oh, okay. Cool. We'll be back there if you need any of the parts right now. Awesome. Oh, excuse me.